It's an early battle for the wooden spoon when the Gujarat Lions host the Royal Challengers Bangalore in the 20th game of the 2017 Indian Premier League. A match that will be played at Rajkot. Hello, friends. I'm Suneer Chowdhary here, and we have the preview and analysis for this game. There are only two teams in the competition with just 2 points apiece, having won just one game, and that's the Lions and the Royal Challengers Bangalore. While the Lions have played 4 games, Bangalore's only win has come in 5 matches, and that has left them struggling in the competition to a large extent. Another defeat for either team, and it would leave them needing a lot to be done in the second half of the tournament, which is not too far away. 7 matches is the first half, and we're nearly there with 4 and 5 games respectively. Let's begin with the Gujarat Lions first. And after having lost 2 games to a poor strategy of stuffing their side with 4 overseas batsmen, a tactic that was used even by another team later, they finally realized their folly and changed things around against the rising Pune Supergiant. Out went Jason Roy, and Andrew Tye was brought in, and what an debut did he have in the IPL. 5 wickets in his 4-over spell, including a hat-trick, restricted Pune to 171 before Gujarat romped home to a win on the basis of 40s from Dwayne Smith and Brendan McCullum. Strangely for the Lions, their woes did not end there. They lost Aaron Finch in their next game to one of the most bizarre reasons possible. His kit did not arrive at Bombay, where the match was, and he had to be left out. In place of him, Jason Roy was brought in. Remember, Jason Roy had played the first 2 matches in which Gujarat Lions had gone in with those 4 overseas batsmen. And then for some strange reason again, when Suresh Raina was dismissed in that match against Mumbai Indians in the 12th over, the second man out, they opted to send in rookie youngster Ishan Kishan instead of pushing Roy up the order, or even Dinesh Karthik, who ended up with a brilliant knock of 40-odd in that game. Kishan scored 11 from 14 balls, and it was only Dinesh Karthik's 26-ball 48 that I just spoke about that saw the side through to what looked like a decent score of 176 in a day game at the Wankhede Stadium. It was not to be. Tye chipped in with a couple more wickets to go with his 5 wickets in the previous game, but every other bowler, including Munaf Patel, who had been brought in, went for more than 8.5 runs and over to leave them without points in that game as well. Moving on to Bangalore, and their story has been no different from the previous season. So for all the Bangalore fans, there is still hope, because this is the kind of start they had the previous season as well. And that's where they'll need to take their heart from. Last year, they had 2 wins from their first 7 games. This is 1 win from 5 games in this season. So they still have those 2 games remaining to register another second win before they can move on. But jokes aside, Captain Virat Kohli made a pointed reference to this in his chat at the end of the game against the rising Pune Supergiant yesterday, when he said that they cannot expect to repeat their histrionics every season. And I quote, "We don't deserve to win if we don't play with intent." He said it there. Royal Challengers Bangalore did lack some intent when they played against Pune, and that is where they struggled. The one obvious difference has been the slow nature of the Bangalore pitch, which has made life difficult for their much wanted batting attack, as opposed to what has usually been the case in the previous seasons at the M. Chinnaswamy Stadium. Chasing has become tougher, and that should push Kohli and company into re-evaluating their tactics when they return back home for their matches. But here's the deal. This game against the Gujarat Lions will be hosted at Rajkot, and the surface there is a very flat one. In fact, one of the flattest surfaces in the country, even this late in the season. We're looking at April, where pitches usually dry out, where it becomes difficult to bat on. It's still flat. We've seen what has happened in the 2 matches that have been played so far in the tournament here. It's been high scoring, much like the original M. Chinnaswamy surface. So it might not be a bad idea to bring Chris Gale back in with AB de Villiers as 2 of their overseas batsmen, and have Timal Mills and Samuel Badri, if Timal Mills is fit, that is, as their 4 overseas player. If Mills is not fit, Adam Milne did a good job in the previous game. He should get a go. And they obviously also have Billy Stanlake, who hasn't done too badly in the time. I'm not convinced about Shane Watson as a preference ahead of Gale, or if he's not informed, that's Gale and not informed, then even a Travis Head is an option. Other than that, I'm surprised at the way the side has changed their openers. almost like one changes one's t-shirt on a day-to-day basis. 5 games, 5 different opening combinations, and one hopes that Kohli sticks with Mandeep Singh at the top of the order if he's not looking to bring Gale back into the 11. Even if Gale comes back into the 11, I hope it's Gale and Mandeep Singh opening with Kohli and AB de Villiers to follow at 3 and 4 to make that batting lineup look a little stronger than it actually is. Now, for what I think could happen in this game, I think the team batting second should have a big advantage at Rajkot. 2 games played this season, as I had mentioned earlier, have resulted in the team batting second win with much ease. Wins with 5 overs to spare in the first game and 10 wickets in hand for the Kolkata Knight Riders, and then another huge score of 170 plus chased down with 2 overs to spare by the home team. And if you're now interested in hearing what Shruti has to say, here you go.
Both these teams are stuck between a rock and a hard place. They're unsure of how to approach and execute their plans in this game. The one player who should manage to somehow be a better decision maker is Virat Kohli, which is why it's Tyro advantage Royal Challengers Bangalore.
Well, so that was Shruti, and that was her prediction as to who will win the game. I have said what I think. The team batting second will have an advantage. But that will be that from both of us here. We will be back with the next game's preview. But till then, do subscribe to our channel by clicking on that button that you see, the subscribe button that you see, or you can follow us on Twitter at World Cricket Chat. That is it from me. Bye-bye.